Do you believe someone can go to 2095, 2080, or even go back to 1980 or the 1990s, while the real year is still 2025? It sounds impossible, but over the years, there have been strange cases, some caught on camera, others backed by witnesses that make you wonder if time travel might just be real. Here are top 10 moments that prove time travelers are real. 10. With Mike Markham, the backyard time machine. It's the mid-1990s in Missouri, USA. A young man named Mike Markham stands in his backyard, surrounded by wires, metal frames, and large copper coils. The smell of burnt metal hangs in the air. His neighbors watch from a distance, curious but a little nervous. Mike isn't a trained scientist. He's just a guy who loves to tinker with electronics. But he has a bold idea to build a working time machine. It starts small. Mike uses an arc welder to create a strong magnetic field between two powerful magnets. The air between them begins to shimmer, like heat waves rising from asphalt. One day, he drops a screw into the shimmering space, and it disappears. Seconds later, it reappears on the ground. If it works for a screw, he wonders, why not for something bigger? He talks about his experiments on a local radio show. Listeners are fascinated. Some call him a genius, others think he's crazy. But Mike is convinced he's onto something. The only problem? His machine needs more power, a lot more. And so, in a move that would get him into trouble, he borrows equipment from a local power station. The police arrest him, but once he's released, he goes right back to his project. In 1998, he calls the radio station one last time. His voice is calm. It's ready, he says. I'm going to try it on myself. If it works, maybe I'll see you yesterday. That's the last anyone hears from Mike. His house is empty. The machine is gone. And then, months later, an old police report from the 1930s surfaces, describing a man found dead on a beach, crushed inside a strange metallic device. Witnesses say the man looked young, dressed in unusual clothes, and the description matches Mike almost exactly. Did Mike's machine work but send him to the wrong time? Did he get stuck in the past, or is it just a coincidence too strange to ignore? 9. The man from Taured. It's 1954, Tokyo, Japan. The customs area at Haneda Airport is busy. A well-dressed businessman steps up to the counter. He smiles politely as he hands over his passport. The officer opens it and freezes. The passport is real, or at least it looks real. The stamps, the seals, the paper, everything checks out. But the country printed on it is one no one has ever heard of, Taured. The man insists Taured is a real place. He says it's between France and Spain, and it's been there for centuries. The officer points to the map, only Andorra is there. No Taured. The man grows frustrated. He pulls out his driver's license, bank statements, and company papers. They all list Taured as his home. His money is real. His documents are flawless. Officials decide to keep him in a hotel for the night while they investigate. Guards are posted outside his door. The next morning, they open the door. The man is gone. So are his belongings. The guards swear they never saw him leave. Did he slip back into his own reality? Did we witness a traveler between parallel worlds? And if it happened once, could it happen again? 8. The Philadelphia experiment survivors. The year is 1943. World War II is at its height. The US Navy is working on a top-secret project to make ships invisible to enemy radar. Some whisper they're trying to make them invisible to the naked eye. The USS Eldridge is chosen for the test. On the day of the experiment, thick cables run from the ship to massive generators on shore. The air hums. Sailors stand nervously on deck. Suddenly, a flash. A greenish blue light. The ship vanishes. Not just from radar. Not behind a smoke screen. Completely gone. Minutes later, it reappears. But something is wrong. Some sailors are missing. Others are violently ill. And then there are the horrifying cases. Men fused into the ship's walls. Their bodies and the metal blended together as if they had been one. A few survivors claim they were thrown through time. One even says he found himself in 1983 before being put back to 1943. The Navy denies everything. But too many witnesses tell the same story. Was this a military experiment gone wrong, or an accidental trip through time? 7. Sergei Ponomarenko, the man who took a wrong turn. Kiev, Ukraine, 2006. Police stop a man wandering the streets. He is confused, wearing clothes from another era, and holding an old camera. His ID is an old Soviet passport dated from the 1950s. When questioned, he says it's 1958, and he was just out for a walk when he saw a strange flying object in the sky. After that, he woke up here. The police don't believe him, but they developed the film in his camera. The photos are exactly as he described, scenes from 1950s Kiev, perfectly clear. Experts confirm they are real. Then, without warning, Sergei disappears from his locked hospital room. Years later, an old photo from the 1970s surfaces, showing a man who looks exactly like Sergei, holding the same camera. Was Sergei jumping back and forth through time? Or is this just an unsolved mystery? 6. Rudolph Fentz, the man out of time. New York City, 1950. A man suddenly appears in the middle of Times Square traffic. Witnesses say he looks startled, as if he's never seen a car before. He's wearing clothes from the late 1800s, a tall hat, a long coat, and mutton chop sidebands. Before anyone can help, he's hit by a taxi and killed instantly. In his pockets, police find old coins, a receipt for horse care, and a letter dated 1876, all in perfect condition. None of it shows any signs of age. When they investigate his name, Rudolph Fentz, they find records of a man by that name who vanished in 1876 without a trace. Did he somehow slip forward in time, only to die minutes later? 5. The woman in the Charlie Chaplin film. It's 1928, and Charlie Chaplin is attending the premiere of his film The Circus. A black and white clip shows people walking into the theater. But one woman stands out. She is holding something small to her ear and speaking into it, just like we do with a cell phone. In 1928, there were no cell phones. No portable radio small enough to hold like that. No reason to have anything like that to your head while walking. Skeptics say it's a hearing aid. But many who watch the clip can't shake the feeling she's doing something way too familiar, decades before it was possible. 4. Andrew Carlson, the stock market prodigy. In 2003, the FBI arrested a man named Andrew Carlson for stock market fraud. In just 2 weeks, he had turned $800 into $350 million, making 126 perfect trades without a single loss. Under questioning, Andrew shocks them. He says he's from the year 2256. He knew exactly which stocks would rise because he had already read about them in history books. The FBI laughs at first, but Andrew offers to tell them the cure for AIDS and the location of Osama bin Laden in exchange for his freedom. Then, without explanation, Andrew disappears. No prison records, no trail, nothing. 3. The time-traveling hipster. In 1941, a photograph is taken at the reopening of a bridge in Canada. Everyone in the crowd is dressed in 1940s style, except for one man. He's wearing a modern-looking t-shirt with a printed logo, sunglasses, and holding a small portable camera that didn't exist in that era. Some argue the clothing could have existed in some form, but the whole look together, too modern to ignore. 2. John Titor, the soldier from 2036. In the early 2000s, a man calling himself John Titor appears on online forums. He claims to be a soldier from the year 2036, sent back to collect an old IBM computer his time needs. He describes future events, a US civil war, strange diseases, new technology. Some predictions seem vague, but his knowledge of the IBM's rare technical features is eerily accurate. Then, just as suddenly as he arrived, John disappears, saying he must return to his own time. 1. Håkon Nordqvist, the man who met his future self. Sweden, 2006. A man named Håkon Nordqvist goes to fix a leak under his kitchen sink. He crawls in and finds himself in a bright, futuristic room. There, he meets himself. Not a lookalike, not a twin, but an older version of himself, about 70 years old. They hug, they talk, they compare tattoos, and they match perfectly. Håkon films it all on his phone. The video spreads online, and to this day, no one can fully explain it. Was it a trick? Or did Håkon really look into his own future? If even one of these stories is real, then time travel isn't just possible, it's already happening. So next time you see someone who doesn't quite fit in, maybe take a closer look. They might be visiting from another time. Subscribe to help the channel out.